Sophie was a bright girl with a head full of thoughts and a heart full of noise. But there was one thing she just couldn't seem to do: listen. If her mom reminded her to bring her lunch, Sophie would wave her off. "I got it already," even when she didn't. If her dad warned her not to leave her bike in the driveway, she'd roll her eyes. "I won't forget this time." Then the next morning, there it was, lying across the sidewalk like a sleeping dragon. At school, she was a hurricane of distractions. If her teacher explained a project, Sophie would whisper to her friend, convinced she already knew what to do. When the librarian told her not to run, she giggled and skipped faster. Her friends got used to saying things twice, or 3 times, or just giving up altogether. Sophie didn't mean to be rude. She just thought she already knew everything, or at least enough to not bother listening to every little word. But as the days passed, things started to go wrong. She forgot her lunch. She tripped over her own bike. She missed an assignment at school and didn't understand why her teacher looked so disappointed. One afternoon, her best friend Lily asked if Sophie wanted to come over after school. Sophie nodded, not really paying attention, and went home instead. The next day, Lily barely looked at her. "You didn't come," she mumbled. "I waited." Sophie blinked. "Wait, what? You never told me what time." Lily sighed. "I did. You weren't listening. Like always." That stung more than Sophie expected. She looked around and realized that more people seemed distant lately. Even her cat, Pickle, had taken to hiding under the bed. That night, Sophie lay in bed with a swirl of thoughts buzzing in her head. She didn't mean to ignore people. It just happened. She closed her eyes and let the buzzing carry her into sleep. When she opened her eyes, the world had changed. She was no longer in her room, but floating in a sky made of floating ears. Big ones, small ones, even ones that twitched when she moved. She turned her head and suddenly heard everything. The rustle of feathers miles away, a whisper from her teacher's voice weeks ago, her mom humming a tune from the kitchen. It was all around her, like a sea of forgotten words and warnings. Sophie tried to speak, but every time she opened her mouth, the ears tilted away. "Hello," she called. "Can someone listen to me?" But her voice sounded muffled, like she was talking underwater. She walked through this strange, echoing land until she came to a hall made entirely of old conversations, each floating like translucent bubbles. She poked one and heard herself saying, "I got it already." Another one, "I won't forget this time." Each bubble popped with a faint, "No, you didn't." Sophie began to feel small. Then she saw a figure sitting quietly in the center of the room, a silver-haired woman with headphones shaped like butterfly wings. She looked up and smiled. "Ah, Sophie, you've arrived." Sophie blinked. "Do I know you?" "I'm the listener," the woman said. "I've heard every word you've missed." Sophie's cheeks flushed. "I didn't mean to ignore people, I just thought I knew what they were going to say." The listener nodded. "But when you don't listen, you miss more than just words. You miss the meaning, the feelings, the people." Sophie sat down. "Is that why everything feels off lately? My friends? My cat? Even my teacher?" "Yes," the listener said gently. "Listening is more than hearing. It's caring. When you listen, you give others a place in your world. When you don't, well, they start to fade from it." Sophie looked around at the shimmering bubbles of memory. "Can I fix it?" The listener smiled. "You already started by asking that question." A bell rang somewhere in the distance, soft as a whisper. The ears in the sky folded inward, and the world dimmed like a fading dream. Sophie woke up with a start, heart pounding. The morning sun filtered through her curtains. Pickle the cat sat at the edge of her bed, blinking. "Pickle," she whispered. Pickle meowed. Sophie reached out, gently petting him behind the ears. Downstairs, her mom called, "Don't forget your lunch today." Sophie paused, then called back, "Thanks, Mom. Got it this time. For real." She actually checked this time. At school, she looked her teacher in the eye, nodded during instructions, and asked questions afterward instead of pretending to know everything. Her teacher smiled, surprised. At recess, Lily sat by the swings. Sophie approached slowly. "I messed up yesterday," she said. "I wasn't really listening when you told me the plan. I'm sorry." Lily looked at her for a moment, then smiled. "Thanks. That means a lot." They swung together in silence for a while, and it was the best kind of quiet. The kind where both people feel heard. Later, Sophie sat at her desk and thought about the dream, about all the words she missed and how listening wasn't just about ears. It was about heart. From that day on, Sophie still had a lot of thoughts, but she made room for others too. When someone spoke, she listened, not just to respond, but to understand. And she discovered something magical. The more she listened, the more people shared. Her world got brighter, deeper, fuller. Not because she talked more, but because she finally heard what was there all along. And maybe, just maybe, you can too. Because listening isn't just about using your ears, it's about opening your heart. Every time you slow down and truly hear someone, you're giving them a gift. And sometimes, that gift comes back to you in ways you never expected. A smile, a thank you, a friendship that grows stronger. So next time someone speaks to you, pause. Look up, lean in, and listen. You never know what beautiful things you might hear, or what amazing things you might discover about the people around you, and about yourself.